What's up, baby? Hey, I'm glad you guys tuned back into the channel. On this channel, we specifically talk about credit, finances, and anything entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in that, please consider subscribing. I know you guys who tapped into this video, you guys are interested in business credit. So I want to give you guys the top 3 reasons why you should be working with business credit and not your personal. Into it, guys. So reason number 1 I'm going to give to you, the reason you want to use the business credit is because it don't reports to your personal credit. So what do you mean, Josh? This is what I'm talking about. Whenever you go through business, business does not report utilization. It does not report on-time payments. It does not report if it's a collection, if it's on the business side, right? So that means if you got a 750 perfect credit score, or you got an 800 credit score, whatever the case may be, whenever you take out a business loan, yes, your personal credit or will get an inquiry because they always checking your personal credit to make sure you're good for the business that you're actually trying to get funding for. So whenever you do that, yes, you will get an inquiry. So that would ding your credit a little bit, but you won't have a new account. You won't have high utilization. You won't have any of those factors that late payments. You won't have any of those factors that actually report to your personal side. So let's give an example, right? Let's say if I took out $10,000, the $10,000 that you use, let's say on a credit card, and let's say you max this credit card out, that would drastically affect your personal credit, right? Because your 30% of your FICO score is your credit card utilization. So if you max out a $10,000 credit card, 9 times out of 10, your utilization is going to shoot through the roof and it's going to ding your credit by 50 points, sometimes 60 or 70, depending on how much credit you got available. So just think about that, right? You dinged your personal credit, right? Now, let's say after 2 months, now let's say you pay that card off, but for those 2 months, your credit score is down, right? Unless you find a way to pay it off, which 9 times out of 10, 10,000 is hard to come up with for a lot of people. So let's think about it like this. If we use that on a business credit card instead of a personal credit card, our FICO never changes besides the inquiry that we took. So as long as that we maxed out on this business credit card, it's still don't attack our personal credit. So let's say in the next month after you made that play, or while you're making that play, you wanted to go buy a new car. You still got the option to get the best interest rates. If you want to go get a new house, you still got the option to get the best interest rates. You're not necessarily penalized for using that credit to make that play, right? Whatever the deal might be, right? Let's say if you were doing something different, right? Say if you wanted to buy a house and you're flipping houses with the money, the reason you're going to use the business credit is because it's not reporting to your personal. So what does this mean, right? I know guys who flipping houses with credit cards, but they using a personal credit card. So once it's time to refinance out these properties, they got it rented out and they time to refinance, their credit score is so low just because their utilization on their credit cards is so high. So you got to understand that whenever we're going through the personal side, it's dinging us. So if you plan on making plays and it's going to take you a few months to get out the investment that you chose to get into, just understand it's always best to go into business. Now, if you're going to go to personal, I recommend just getting out of it, moving the money in and out as fast as possible so your utilization don't get messed up, which therefore decreases your credit score, right? Number two, and I want you guys to hear this very hard. Number 2 is that you can fund small projects, right? You can fund small projects. So let me tell you an example of a small project, because I wasn't on credit for forever, right? For the last 4 years, I've been flipping houses in and out, just flipping houses, turning as many as we can, right? I think we roughly did over like 700K. Our best month was 2019, or our best year was 2019. We roughly did about 400. So just think about it, right? On these projects, we had some fix and flip properties. We were mainly wholesaling, but we had some fix and flip. So that means we pretty much had to go in there, buy the property at 80, put 20,000 into the property, and then sell the property for the 140, right? So we took whatever. So typically we took home somewhere between 20 to 45,000 or 20 to 35,000, depending on how much spread we had in the property, right? So with that being said, our last property we had, we just sold that maybe 3-4 months ago, right? So with that being said, on that property, we had to get a roof done. We had to tear up a whole deck in the backyard. We had to put a brand new hot water heater in the property. And then we had to do like a chimney vent, something for the chimney vent, right? Grand total of all expenses paid that we had to do after we had got it on the market and put all the money into it for repairs was about $8,000. Now, granted, we did get a roof check to cover some of that money, right? But the roof check we actually didn't get until after we sold the property. So just think about that, $8,000 that we got to come up with so we can finish this property and go ahead and get to our profits, right? So we used the credit card. Literally, we used the credit card, maxed the credit card out, paid all the contractors, paid the material for the roof, paid the contractors to come demo the deck, paid for pretty much everything, the hot water heater, all of that on one credit card. We did not have to worry about how we're going to pay our rent. We didn't have to worry about car notes. We didn't have to worry about feeding our family. Because you think about it, a lot of times, $8,000 is a lot of money to come up with for a family, right? So 9 times out of 10, if you got the business credit, you never have to worry about your rent that's due. You never have to worry about your personal expenses because you got this credit card specifically for things like that. So that's the second tip, man. I always have that available for just in case anything happened. You always got that money. You don't have to worry about how you're going to make ends meet and continue to make money, right? Reason number 3. You always want to keep your personal money to you, right? You always want to keep your personal money in your pockets, right? So with that being said, let's not go out and use all our money to go fund our next business, right? It just don't make sense. Let's say if we're brand new to the business and we don't know much about it, we know what we think we can make. We know the potential of the business, but we don't know all the ins and outs. We don't know all the pitfalls. We don't know everything that can kind of get us and bind us up, right? So with that being said, before we get too deep into those things or as far as those pitfalls, let's always have, 20, 25,000 sitting on the side just in case we hit hard times and we're not profitable for the first 3 months, right? We still got enough money to pay our staff. We still got enough money to pay for anything, utilities, anything that we might need, gas, mortgages or truck notes, whatever the case may be, whatever we decide to get into, we still got that money to carry us over and bring us through that cycle of those down times. So the reason you always want to keep your money, the main reason you always want to keep your money in your pocket though, is because let's say in 6 months, the business does terrible, right? It's time to just go ahead and set up shop and go ahead and close up shop and go ahead and move forward. With that being said, let's say if we funded this business solely on one credit card, right? On the business. Let's say we funded this solely on one credit card from the business. Look, whenever we go bad on this credit card, start missing the payments and things like that, it's not going to start dinging our personal credit, right? We might get in a situation where we start getting judgments, though. So judgments is pretty much where the bank will sue you. Now, this is the difference between if you use the bank money versus your money. When the bank come and sue you, you can probably settle that $25,000 credit card maybe for $10,000. You can settle that debt for $10,000. That means the bank will say, okay, we're even, just give me $10,000 and you're good to go. Does that make sense? I hope you guys are getting this, because let's say if we did $25,000 on our own money, once we went out of business, we just lost 25 grand and you're not getting that back from anybody. But if we lose the bank money, then the bank lost the 25. Now we gave them 10 and they're selling the debt. So they're fine with the 15. But we just lost everything if we took that chance. All right. So the difference between us and the bank, and this is number one, the bank have the government to bail them out. Just like when back, I want to say 2009, 2008, when everything crashed. I want to say it was Obama had to write something to bail all the banks out. Right. That's the exact same thing. The governments need these banks in business, so they're more incentivized to cut the banks a check to make sure they can pay through all of that debt and keep the system rolling. With us as small business owners or any kind of entrepreneur gigs, they're not incentivized to keep us in business, right? So if we take out the leverage on ourselves, that's just on us. Once we lose. Everything's gone. But when it's on the bank, I promise you, somebody will come in and bail the bank out. So just think about that. I hope that helped you guys out. If you guys liked the video, tell me what you liked about it. If you want to see something different, please leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys would like to see. Hey, thank you for rocking out with me, YouTube. Y'all take it easy.